is a long-term change in the average weather pattern that have come to define her local, regional, and global climate. These changes have a broad change of observed effects that are synonymous with the term. It includes not only global warming caused by human emission of greenhouse gas, but also large-scale change in weather pattern. The large deviation, the greatest the range of climate change, the more unstable the climate state.
Nowadays, climate change is the biggest issue not only in Malaysia but all around the world. Extreme changes in temperature, weather patterns, and other force all over sectors to be ready to cope with this problem, especially in agricultural sector. Farmers having problems to adapt with climate changes, where they are lacking in many angles to sustain their crops. This thing is a problem because farmers not get any proper training and advice from responsible authorities to help them. Farmers also do not have a clear perception of the climatic changes and vulnerability.
This case study had been conducted because the climate change already happened right now. This case study is really important to give an overview about what is the climate change and how it can affect everyone who not adapt with it. This case study highlighted more about adaptability farmers towards climate change, which is really important that could affect farmers, crop, society, and also economy. This research will help them to increase the production of crops during extreme weather and also to prevent their crop from die.
So generally, climate changes can affect the farmers if they couldn't adapt towards the changes. So some crops may actually benefit with the climate changes, which can lengthening the growing season, also the rate of carbon monoxide. Meanwhile, failure for the farmer to adapt with the climate changes can affect their crops production, which will probably increase the risk of food insecurity for some vulnerable groups, such as the poor groups. So, for instance, farmers in Malaysia may affected during the flood season, especially those who are living in the east coast states, such as in the Kelantan, Terengganu, and Pahang. So, the farmer who are able to modernize their methods and diversity their fields may survive well during the climate changes. That's all. Thank you.
Today I would like to talk about effect climate change to the human. First is less the production of the crop yields due to temperature rising. The ultimate effect of rising health depend on each group optimal range of the temperatures for the crop and reproduction. If the patient accept this range, yield will crop because the health stress can disrupt a plant pollination, flowering, root development, and growth stage. Water scarcity make it more expensive and difficult to sustain crop and livestock. Next is increase of poverty due to loss of resources. Flooding, severe storm, and drought are type of climate event that leave millions of the world population facing global hunger. It is because the citizens really much on the land for their food and livelihood. When the crop and livestock are diminished, both their ability to feed themselves and their ability to provide financial security for their family and children.
Climate change has exhibited stress on the land and affected the growth of crops. The riverbank line gradually declined. The glacier melted and the river began to rise. Some areas may suffer inundation or intrusion of seawater, erosion of beaches and coast, deterioration of land, increased seawater intrusion and flooding, damage to ports, and impact on coastal agriculture. Due to climate warming, the ecological environment is threatened, and the clouds cannot grow. Climate change has exhibited desertification. It also caused many forest fire, making it impossible for many rare plants and animals to survive.
And I'm going to present about the solution on helping farmers to adapt climate change. In order to help farmers to adapt climate change, there are training, awareness and support need to be done. This is because mostly farmers do not have exact knowledge on climate change. The way to help them is by giving support, by creating awareness on early question of climate change so that they can cope with the alteration of temperature on climate change. Other than that, the government also shows their support in the context of giving subsidies such as compound fertilizer and urea, and these subsidies are still continuing since 1979. In addition, land preparation and incentive, also organic fertilizers, also provided by the government for farmers in order for them to use in expanding their crops. Other than that, government has introduced the packaging of compound and urea fertilizer, which include the pesticide in it, for them to enhance their productivities. And training also need to be provided so that farmers can prepare any circumstances and risks due to the climate change. And other than that, government also need to upgrade the technology such as machinery problems so that the farmers can enhance their productivities on working their production in future. That's all for me. Thank you.
The next solution is by plant agroforestry system. Agroforestry integrates trees and crop in design system. In an agroforestry system, every plant is selected for a particular purpose and species are selected so that plant will not compete but collaborate. This diversity of crops and trees allow the area to be proactive all year long so that small farmer can earn income in all seasons. For example, cocoa. Cocoa is one commodity that have benefit from agroforestry. Cocoa plant can grow better and be even more resilient under the shade of other trees. Agroforestry systems are important tool for climate change adaptation in agriculture. It is said because the working paper find that agroforestry produce adaptation benefit for local climates, including reducing the impact of heat waves, cool wave, heavy rain and flood. From this way, I believe that we can reduce the amount of gases in atmosphere that can cause climate change.
The next solution is rehabilitate agriculture. The ever-growing population caused the increasing demand of food that have resulted in intensive agriculture activities. These activities make the soil low in organic matter and prevent formation of deep and complex root system. This can be done with bluegrass or planting tree in the pasture to avoid the soil erosion that help degrade pasture to be more sustainability. Mango, etc. 2014 proved that grass can reduce erosion and has potential to increase the resistance of topsoil to concentrate flow erosion to a large extent. Rehabilitated degraded pasture also can be done with the grass restoration that can contribute to new and more sustainable way for raising animal and crops. This combined between grass and tree are a great idea to improve the soil health and also for the crop well-being. This solution also can reducing the carbon emission into the atmosphere.
So I'll be present on conclusion part. Based on what we have studied, we find that climate change is affecting farmers and the environment. Most studies show that the impact of climate change on farmers will provide less crop yield production, less revenue, and increased poverty. Studies also show that there are effects of climate change on the environment, which is where the pesticide applied to crops and give pollution to the water environment, and water bodies contaminated by pesticides lead to shortage of water for agriculture. Solutions to help the farmers in adapting the climate change is the responsible bodies should take some actions, such as provide training and support for the farmers. It is important for every parties to examine the relationship between climate and agriculture. Thus, farmers should implement the solutions that have been suggested in order to adapt and face the challenge with climate change. That's all for me. Thank you.